Hi everyone, I'm Dan, and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. I've been going over this table of toys here on the other side of me, figuring out which kind of things I want to review and go over, and I'm wearing an Iron Fist shirt today. So today, we are going to take a look at the new Luke Cage and Iron Fist 2-pack, and we are going to compare them to a previously released Luke Cage and a previously released Iron Fist to see if we can't determine which ones are better.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
So, like I said in my intro, this is a which is better comparing Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and we have a number of them in front of me here. First, we have our 2016 Iron Fist. This came out in the Dormammu Build-A-Figure wave. I believe it was the Doctor Strange movie wave. Single card release. He has gotten a repaint and a additional release on this mold, but in slightly a different costume. We'll talk about that later. This is the Luke Cage we are looking at, a single release one. This was from last year, so 2023's Mindless One Build-A-Figure wave. This is, of course, in the classic Power Man costume. And then over here, we have a Luke Cage and an Iron Fist from the 2024 Marvel Legends 85th Anniversary of Marvel 2-pack. This is, of course, the latest release, and this is a 2-pack. So what we're going to be doing today on Which is Better is comparing in the 5 rounds of comparison like I normally do, but I will be giving points for each Iron Fist and each Power Man, each Luke Cage. So even though it is a 2-pack, these characters are getting graded separately, if that makes sense. It's almost like a 2-for-1 episode. My first round, though, is always about the paint and overall appearance, and let's look at the Iron Fist figures first. This is, of course, the Iron Fist, as I mentioned, from the Dormammu wave. And this Iron Fist is done up in the costume that was reminiscent of the Matt Fraction run of Iron Fist, I'm going to say, where he had a onesie on, essentially, like a full ninja getup with the yellow boots. He has the wrapped wrists, which I really like. I really like the look of this. This is great for like a martial arts kind of character. I've always really liked that. The face here is, it's there. It looks calm. It looks, serious. It doesn't look like it's like a happy, jokey face. But the dragon on here is on the costume. It's not tattooed on his chest, which it is underneath the costume. And the belt here, the sash, is loose, so you can kind of move this. I believe this was the one they used for a lot of different characters. But he is on a very skinny body. This is the Pizza Spidey mold, which I think a lot of people kind of thought it was their definitive Spider-Man mold for quite a while, until the Renew Your Vows one came out, and now we kind of have a new definitive Spider-Man mold. But it's not bad. It looks pretty good. It's not pinless, but the pins don't really stand out too much because it is the same color pin as the costume showing through. So there he is. I think that's all I can really say about this one. Our new Iron Fist, a little bit of a taller body, like just to put them side by side. You can see it's a smidge taller. It is a little bulkier, the body. It's not quite as skinny. It is, of course, in that classic Iron Fist costume with the bright green, the nice popped yellow collar, and the gi here, the sash, whatever you want to call it, is it's not attached. I thought it was, but it sits very nicely. It's not really going anywhere unless you really play with it. The face on this figure, a little more serious, a little more mean looking, but again, not like villainous, but just a little more serious. I like the yellows and greens. I think they pop a little more. Of course, this does have the dragon tattoo on his chest because it's the open collar. You see his chest, and there aren't like just painted on boots. There is actual ankle cut here, which we'll get into. But he does have his little karate slippers, so that works too. The one thing that he doesn't have that I really like from the other one is the wrapped hands. Now, of course, this Iron Fist didn't have wrapped hands in the comics. You could, I guess, remedy that and pop these hands off and put them on if you really wanted to have hand wraps. But, for this look, it maybe isn't the most appropriate thing. So for paint and overall appearance, Iron Fist, the classic one, is going to win it for me. I just think this costume looks a lot nicer. The green's brighter. It's a little more eye-catching. In terms of Luke Cage's, we will look at the Mindless One Build-A-Figure one first. And I did a Which is Better for this Luke Cage, where I compared him to the Defenders box set version of Luke Cage. And of course, this is Luke Cage in his classic comic costume. This is how he first started out. He's got the tiara, he's got the chain, he's got the metal bracers. I said last time that I felt the wrists and hands on this figure are really small. I still feel that way. And I still don't like that there is some noticeable gappage here around the arm, where the jacket sleeve is supposed to be coming out. We have this open, probably so that you can get more articulation and the plastic isn't in the way, but it is noticeable. It is there. So, there we go. This is, of course, his classic appearance. This Luke Cage from the 2-pack is Luke Cage he kind of appears in modern comics, just a dude in jeans and a t-shirt, looking somewhat menacing and somewhat, heroic. I'll just say that, I guess. But let me try to fix my light here because it just got kind of wonky. There we go. But the detail in this one, first off, yes, it is just a painted shirt, but unlike the Defenders box set one, this has a raised collar. So it's not just a body painted in yellow. You can see the collar. There are like ruffles to his shirt. Even on the arms, again, they're like ruffled pieces. You can see how like the fabric is like bunched up. Let me try to focus in. There we go. The fabric is bunched up so you can see it. Yeah, he's wearing jeans, but it's not just legs painted blue. You can see the ruffles in the jeans, even down to the shoes. They have shoelaces on his feet. And then on the belt, it says Cage, which I think is a neat touch. And one thing to talk about is he does have interchangeable hands. The hands have brass knuckles on them, and this hand says Cage. The other hand that has the brass knuckles also says something. We'll get there in a little bit. But, there's just a lot of nice detail on this figure that they put a little extra love into, considering that it's, a 2-pack. Sometimes a figure kind of gets shortchanged, and I don't feel like anyone did. So I'm letting this Luke Cage win out on paint and overall appearance. I think it's just a better look. And what I kind of said last time, too, I felt this Luke Cage was a little short. Standing back to back, this Luke Cage is a decent amount higher. So, I feel like that is an important thing for Luke Cage. He is a bigger kind of dude. So, yeah. So the winners for round 1 for paint and overall appearance would both be our 2-pack. So Iron Fist and Luke Cage both went out. The 2-pack versions went out for my first round. And just like I would on any other version of Which Is Better, we're going to talk about articulation next. We'll start once again with the Dormammu Wave Iron Fist. And this Iron Fist, as I said, was on that piece of Spider-Man body. It is pretty agile. You got the bowl-jointed neck on a swivel, or not a swivel, on like a disc there, so it will move up and down, but it allows the head to go for some nice movement. In terms of the body, we have rotation at the abdomen, and down at the stomach, and we have ab crunch, and some pretty expressive ab crunch, I will say that. We have some nice butterfly joints, so his joints are moving in and out. Looks pretty good. The arms, of course, go out about that much. They will go all the way around. You have, rotation up here at the bicep. Double jointed elbow, so you can get some deep bend. And then at the wrist, because of the way that this piece interchanges with something, you do have movement there at the wraps. You also have twisting at the hand, at the wrist, and then, of course, in and out there. So that is a little bit of extra movement like you might not expect. The legs can kick up about that far, and they're going to kick out about that far. You do have full rotation at the thigh. You have double jointed knee. And even though it looks like there is no boot cut. There is painted, but like to have a break in the costume, but there's no cut there. The foot will move up and down, and of course, ankle rocker. So there we go. Not the worst when it comes to articulation. Of course, now I'm having trouble standing him. There we go. We're going to put him over here. Our new Iron Fist. At the head, there is some up and down. The collar gets in the way a little bit, not tremendously, but it's there. This is on just that, I forget what kind of ball joint they call this, but there's one inside the neck and then the one for up here, for the head. So there we go. So it's a little more expressive. You can kind of get more out of it. In terms of the body, we have this joint up here. So you get a lot of movement and bend, and then you have a crunch down in the stomach. So he can go real low. Probably really good for, a karate athletic type character. At the arms, we have butterfly joints. We go all the way around and we go up. We do have rotation at the bicep, and we do have double jointed elbows. They are pinless, not that it adds to the articulation, but it is there. The hands, at least the ones that I have on, because he has a lot of different hands, will rotate around and will swivel in and out. So, nice to see that. The legs are going to kick out pretty high, going to kick to the side a little further than the old Iron Fist. Not much, but a little further for a rotation at the thigh. Double jointed knee, and you get a deep bend there. Bringing the leg back down. We do have boot cut. There is boot cut, ankle pivot, forward and backwards movement on the ankle, and there is toe articulation. So if toe articulation is something you're into, he has it. He has just a little more articulation than the Dormammu Wave Build-A-Figure. So Iron Fist, the 2-pack version, wins out on articulation. We still have to look at the Luke Cage figures. So I'll be bringing in our Mindless One Luke Cage. I did this before in my Which is Better Luke Cage video, but I'll go through it again. We have ball joint neck on that disc, so it will go up and down. Nothing at the body other than this one joint that moves the entire body. It's not just moving like half of it or part of it. It moves everything. Arms rotate, go out, bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, and then the hands will swivel left and right and rotate around. So yeah, some pretty decent movement there. Kick forward this much at the legs, kick to the side that much, which is pretty good for rotation at the thigh. And double jointed knee kind of kicks back that far. One of the things that bothered the heck out of me in my previous review on this character, and it still does, is that there is no boot cut here. It looks like there should be boot cut, but there's none. That bothers me so much when it looks like it should be there and it's not. Foot up and down and left and right. So not bad. The body is where it really loses out on. Our new Luke Cage head is also on that same neck joint system as Iron Fist. So you can see that there's a ball joint here that can kind of move all around. Come on. So when I put the head back on, you can get pretty expressive with it. It's a really good head. It's a really good neck system. At the body, we have rotation and we have ab crunch. So already better than our Mindless One version. At the arms, we have butterfly joints. We have arms going around, arms going out. We have bicep rotation. And we have double jointed elbows, also pinless. The hands will also rotate and will swivel left to right. So there we go. Looking pretty good. At the legs, we're going to kick out, or kick forward rather, kick out that far, full thigh rotation, double jointed knees, no boot cut, but it doesn't look like there should be boot cut, so I'm okay with that. And then at the feet, up and down, and swivel. And the pants don't really get in the way of it. Maybe you can't get in some extreme poses, but the pant cuffs not really stopping you from moving this figure around. So thinking mostly about the body and how better the body moves, and the fact that he has butterfly joints at his arms, I'm giving my articulation round to this version of Luke Cage. Once again, meaning that this Iron Fist and this Luke Cage win out for round 2. Both of them get the points here. And yeah, there we go. Let's move on to the next round. And like I normally do, my third round is about the accessories that these figures come with. So let's look at this Iron Fist first for his accessories. I did mention kind of before that he has some interesting accessories because things do change out. So these wrapped wrists, you can actually pull them off like that. There's a peg on the wrist itself. So yeah, you could have arm cut off Iron Fist, or you could also put these glowy hands on him. And I guess this is supposed to simulate the Iron Fist power going through him. They are sculpted pretty well, although like depending on where you're putting them, they kind of sometimes look a little gappy. Like if you turn them, so like that looks okay. It's a neat way to show his power. He also has these, I'm sorry, there are two of them, so there's one for each fist. He also has these fireballs that you can stick on really any of the sets of hands. So you could stick them on the wrapped hands to show that energy flowing. You could also stick them on the glowing hands to, again, show that energy. And it is a bit, it's a bit of a big fireball. I can't complain about it too much because this isn't the only time you're going to see this in the review today. It's a good way to show his, his Iron Fist. The skeletal hands, when they came out, I thought they were cool. It shows like his hand glowing. You see the bone inside. I thought it was cool. And as time progressed, I kind of appreciated the wrap fists more. I think that those look a little bit more like a bruiser, a fighter. So, yeah, like not terrible. Maybe not the best. The new Iron Fist, let's move this one out of the way. The new Iron Fist comes with a whole bunch of different hands, which is appropriate for a character like Iron Fist. So I'm going to grab them all real quick. And the first matching pair would be that he comes with two fists. He's already sporting one, but there's a left and a right fist. There's also a left and a right, I don't know, like clawed tiger claw hand. So that hand is there. He's already sporting one of these hands, but he has this hand as well, which, I don't know, could maybe fit like a weapon between the fingers or something. That's the one he has on his hand now. There are also two karate chop hands. So he has 4 sets of hands altogether. He also has this other head, which is more of like a screaming, angry face. And, if you want to swap him out, because it is a Marvel Legends figure, you just have to pop one off the ball joint. Pop the new one on. And you get something that looks like this and looks pretty menacing. He also has the fireballs like the other one had. So you can stick the fireballs on his hands if you want him to do the, Iron Fist punch here. And maybe that's why you have the screaming head on. Maybe he's giving like a good like hi-ya or screaming, ho, whatever, as he is attacking his opponent. So in terms of accessories, like, yeah, they both have interchangeable hands, but he's got a lot more. They both have fireballs, yeah, but he also has, our new one has the additional head. So I'm going to give this round to our 2-pack version of Iron Fist in terms of accessories, but we still have to talk about Luke Cage. We're not quite done yet, so let's bring in my 2 Luke Cages. Now, the Dormammu Wave Luke Cage, he has the fist that he's currently sporting and an open hand, and he has matching for the other sides as well. So he has another open hand and another fist. So interchangeable hands, like you would expect with Marvel Legends. Pop them off, stick the new ones on. Hooray. My new Luke Cage from the 2-pack also has interchangeable hands, but the things that I love about this Luke Cage, there's another kind of, I don't want to say at-rest hand, but it is another grip hand. He could grab something with this hand. But then he has these hands that have the brass knuckles on them. And like I already pointed out, this one says Cage. And the other one that you can put on him says Luke. So he can literally punch his name into somebody's head. And that is just such a cool way to do accessories. I think it's neat that it's not just fisted hands. It's these very unique and specific to him fisted hands. He also has an additional screaming head, an angry head. So if you wanted him losing his cool and beating down some punk, there you go. You can do that with this head as well. And because it is a Marvel Legends, you just pop the old head off and you pop that new head on. And now you have a very angry looking Luke Cage. Just looks so good. So my 2-pack Luke Cage is also going to win for the accessory round, making the score so far Iron Fist and Luke Cage from the 2-pack having 3, and our old ones, our single releases, having no points. But let's keep going because we're not quite done yet. Round 4 is about the price and availability of these figures. So this is a weird one because I've been grouping so far with Iron Fist versus Iron Fist and Cage versus Cage. We're going to be talking about all of them together. So this 2-pack, the new 85th anniversary Marvel Luke Cage and Iron Fist 2-pack, will run you $50. That's the price tag. As of August of 2024, it is out. You can buy this set. It is popping up in Target, Walmart, GameStop, on Hasbro Pulse, wherever you might find your toys. These two, of course, they're single releases. You have to buy them separately. The Iron Fist from the Dormammu wave was $20 when it came out. Now it looks like it's going to run you, according to Action Figure 411, anywhere between $27 to $35. So, you know, a little bit more than when it came out. The Power Man was $25 when he came out in the Monolith 1 wave. Now this one seems to be going anywhere between $15 to $20, again, according to Action Figure 411. So, you know, your mileage is going to vary, but when you think about it, you know, you're looking at a $20 figure, a $35 figure, and guess what? That equals 55. You're looking at the 2-pack, you're looking at 50. Again, you might be able to get this set for cheaper, these two individuals for cheaper. It's really going to depend where you look. You're probably going to be able to get both sets for about $50 each. So I think it's only fair to call the 4th round a tie between both of these guys. You're probably going to end up spending $50 on both of them. All right, so I'm kind of returning these figures to a more or less neutral standing pose for my last round, which is my display compatibility. And this is where things get really interesting, because I don't feel like these figures were grouped well. I really like the 2-pack. I really like this 2-pack and the way it is presented. However, when I think of Iron Fist pairing with Luke Cage in his classic, you know, karate gi, I'm honestly thinking about him with our classic Power Man style Luke Cage. Like, this is what, you know, when I think of original Heroes for Hire, this is what I'm thinking of in my head. This looks really good together. When I'm thinking of a modern Luke Cage and Iron Fist pairing, I'm thinking of this Luke Cage paired with this Iron Fist, or some variation of this costume. There's also like that tracksuit costume, which I don't really like, I'll be honest. But if I'm thinking like the modern, kind of like less superhero-y Luke Cage, this is what I'm thinking. Like, you know, Iron Fist in this kind of costume, Luke Cage in just a jeans and a shirt. That's what I think of when I think modern takes of these figures. So this is a very hard round to call. Do I want them on my shelf presented as this 2-pack? Do I want them on my shelf with, you know, both classic costumes? Do I want them on my shelf in both new costumes, modern costumes? It's kind of a difficult one to call, which I've said a few times already. If I really am breaking it down, you know, I want the most iconic looking costumes of these guys on my shelf, but I also want the ones that I really like, and maybe sometimes to me what is the most iconic one isn't to you. In terms of what would probably look best on a display, I'm giving the points to this version of Power Man and the 2-pack Iron Fist. That's where the points are going. There's no getting around that. You know, these look great together. This is classic Heroes for Hire. However, I really, really like, as he falls down, I really, really like this Luke Cage. It doesn't look as, I don't want to say as hokey, but it doesn't look quite as tacky as the original one. You know, the original one, I'm behind everything except the tiara, if I'm being honest. I do not like the tiara on his head. I think it looks silly. I also think Luke Cage should be a bit of a bigger character. You know, he is. He's a strong dude. This one still falls a little short for me. So, you know, like, I objectively, I think these two pair better, the classic Power Man and the classic Iron Fist. But at the end of the day, I really do think that this kind of looks better. This is my personal taste. So, yeah, I understand what I'm saying is that I'm talking in circles, because I like both these Luke Cages. But I think the best display probably would be classic Power Man and classic Iron Fist. So they're getting the points on this edition of Which Is Better. So at the end of the day, our 2-pack of the modern Luke Cage and the classic Iron Fist does get the most points. You know, I think they have the better paint and the articulation. I think they have the better accessories. And I think they have, well, the price is kind of a tie, but overall, this set does win. So if you don't have a Luke Cage or Iron Fist in your collection, this is probably the one that you want to track down. I'm still torn as to what I'm going to do on my display, because I'm all ready to just not display our Dormammu Wave Iron Fist anymore. I'm ready for just this Iron Fist. But I don't know if I want him standing next to the new 2-pack Luke Cage or the classic Power Man. like I said, I kind of dig this costume better, but I know in the comics what comes to mind is the classic one with Iron Fist. I don't know. It's going to be me rearranging some shelves and doing some serious thinking. But let me know in the comments below, which set of Paraman and Iron Fist are you going for? Which Luke Cage do you like better? Do you just want to go for the 2-pack and make it easy on yourself? I would love to know what your preferred pairing is and what you think of this. So let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I've been Dan. You've been pretty awesome. I'll see you around. Well, there we go. What did you think of this video? Sound off in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Remember, we are making a push to get to 700 subscribers here on the channel. If we do that before the HasLab Giant Man arrives, I will be giving away the old Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure that you've seen on my shelf and things like that. So hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit like if you're so inclined, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Come geek